Your BetQL Sunday service starts now. With Sean Marash.
I will punch you in your stupid face, and I hate the Knicks. I hate their fans.
And Pat Boyle.
That's probably why I'm not a GM in the NFL, but if I was, I would probably take a huge swing on Michael Penix.
Turning your faith into fortune.
Few things in the gambling world I can't wait to bet more than the Jets under right now.
While serving up hot takes and hot takes.
If Chet Holmgren was on that team, he's probably putting up better numbers than Wemby.
It's BetQL 5-Star Weekend, presented by BetMGM.
Good morning. How are you?
Whoa.
We're off and flying here. Yeah. Whew. Shawnee's body's breaking down. It's Sean Morash and Pat Boyle. Excuse me. And a bless me. And how are you? And bless you all on this Sunday morning, as some of you might be driving to and from getting blessed. Or maybe not. Either way, I'm talking myself into a circle already. It's 5-Star Weekend, Game 2 of the NBA Finals tonight. Game 1 of Stanley Cup in the books. The Triple Crown is over. We got a lot of happenings going on overseas. French people playing their Open. London people watching their baseball or watching our baseball. Here in New York, people from India and Pakistan watching their cricket. We've just displaced every sport and their fan bases here for the better part of the weekend. But nonetheless, plenty to rub our hands in and get in the thick of it here this morning. Patty, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Sean. The Triple Crown's been over, by the way. So, it's been over. It ended in Preakness when whatever the horse who won the Kentucky Derby didn't win Preakness.
Still considered a Triple Crown race, Pat. The Triple Crown is over.
Other than that faux pas that you made, I thought you had a very good Open. I thought you got the people in North America ready to go here for this beautiful Sunday program that we do every Sunday morning. And I got a bet right out of the gate whenever we want to get into it. I got bets at the top of every hour. Patty's opening up the wallet today. So, Could be a good day, could be a really bad day. We're going to find out.
Well, if you're here to make money, Pat Boyle might be here to make you money too. So let's start with some hot cakes and hot takes.
Good morning, people. Boy, do I need some hot takes and hot cakes. Pat Boyle and Sean Marash, give it to them.
Let's start with you, Patrick, since you have a bet right out of the gate.
Yes, I do. French Open final. For those of you that haven't listened to this show, I'm a big tennis guy. Big tennis fan, and this is a final that I was hoping for when we started the semifinals on Friday. It's a rematch. Excuse me. It's a rematch of the quarterfinals from 2 years ago. Alexander Zverev, Sasha Zverev, as he's better known, versus Carlos Alcaraz, who I'm sure many of you know after the stunning, incredible 5-set win over Novak Djokovic in the Wimbledon final last year. Alcaraz going for his third Grand Slam title, going for his first French Open title, which feels like it would have been the first of the two that he had already won, or the first of three that he would have won. But yet he has not won the French Open yet. Zverev beat him in the quarterfinals 2 years ago. Zverev has a favorable head-to-head against Carlos Alcaraz. He knows how to beat him. I think there's too much hype around Alcaraz. I think because he beat Jannik Sinner, who's now the world number one, who won the Australian Open earlier this year. I think the public just thinks, there's no chance Alcaraz is going to lose. Zverev has beaten him in this tournament before. He has beaten him plenty of times before. This is a matchup he knows how to win. Off the court issues, he was facing a domestic abuse case that it got dropped as of Friday morning. So even if that was possibly playing had a mental effect on him, which I didn't think it did. He said it didn't because he was, very, very, I would say, actively presuming his innocence the entire time. Whatever you believe is the case happened. Either way, the charges are dropped. So I think Zverev goes into this match with a calm head. I think he goes into this match with a lot of confidence. He's been serving well. So the bet I have for you today, I do have him to win, by the way. I have a same-game parlay, Zverev to win in over 39.5 games at plus 450. However, I do think that he wins at least 2 sets. So I think that's the best value here for this French Open final. I get it. All the public money. All the public thinks Alcaraz is going to win. He's the fan favorite with good reason. But like I said, Zverev knows how to win this match. I think he's going to serve well. I think he's going to handle the pressure well. And Alcaraz he hasn't played that great. him and Yannick Sinner, if you watch that match, the semifinals on Friday, it goes 5 sets. You think, oh, wow, what a tremendous match. What a spectacle. It was pretty ugly. It was a pretty ugly match. Neither of them played well. They both carried some
When you're
injuries.
facing the son of a sinner, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, they're from angels to sinners. When they went into that match, went into this tournament carrying some injuries. Sinner with a little bit of a hip issue, Alcaraz with a forearm issue. He hadn't played the big 2 Masters tournaments going into this French Open tournament. So I think there is a lot of reason to think that Alcaraz won't be at his best, even though he's won 2 Slam finals already. This is a matchup Zverev knows how to win. So Alexander Zverev, if you go to BetMGM and you go to set props to win more than 1 set, best of 5. So Zverev has to win at least 2 sets. That's plus 110 on BetMGM. That's the bet I like the most. I think he wins the match. So obviously I think he's going to win at least 2 sets in the process. There you go.
Patty tennis courts. That's what he gave you there. And I like your little explanation on how to find that inside the BetMGM app. Take care of BetMGM for all your responsible gambling circumstances. Okay, with that, I'm going to give you my hot cake and hot take. Plus 320. Panthers win the Stanley Cup at 5 games, 4-1. That series ended last night. 3-0. Bobrovsky, that's a light work 30 saves. I know he shut him out. He had a moment where he lost his stick. Ultimately, this is a Panthers finishing their story from losing to Vegas a year ago. They unfortunately ended my New York Rangers seasons, but you could see that their brand of hockey is not going to work with the Western Conference teams specifically. The Rangers threw everything they had at them, got to 6. Maybe they're a 5-on-3 penalty away from 7. The Oilers, for as good as Draisaitl is, for as good as Connor McDavid is, Skinner is not Igor Shesterkin or Vasilevsky or Swayman. Like, this is the worst goalie that the Florida Panthers have faced in the postseason. They end up finishing things off 3-0 last night, and I just think that this is going to end up being a shorter series. So that's why I'm looking at the 4-1 series odds. Maybe, okay, McDavid has a moment where he scores a hat trick in the series and shows everybody. That could be like the Allen Iverson game when the Sixers only won 1 game versus that dominant Lakers dynasty of Shaq and Kobe. 4-1 at plus 320 right now. Panthers, I think the Stanley Cup is over. Congrats to Paul Maurice. Congrats to everybody down in Florida. Start planning your parade. It is over, Patty. Over.
Wow, 1 game and you're calling it already. I mean, I know that you are a bitter Ranger fan, so you think, oh, the team that beat my Rangers, they have to win. There's no way they can lose.
I actually prefer they don't. I can't stand them. I think they're all scummy. I prefer they don't.
Quick sidebar here. So that's an interesting topic because as a Knicks fan, I would have preferred the Pacers to lose as well. Now, again, I hate the Celtics, and I think all of us New York sports fans inherently hate Boston. So I was in I was in a pickle. I was in between a rock and a hard place there, Sean. But I think it's an interesting question to pose to sports fans in general. If your team gets knocked out in the postseason, do you want the team that eliminated them to win it? Because then you can say, hey, we lost to the team that won it all. Or would you rather the team that beat you lose in the next round?
When in the history of sports arguments, have you ever been debating your team and actually used the line? Remember that year, we did lose to the eventual champs. We did. So, I mean, we might have been the second. What does that matter? They've probably beaten 3 or 4 other teams. So how do you know you would have beat them either? Here's the way I look at it. I'd rather the team that my team lost to lose to make me feel better, knowing they only lost once, to go, maybe we wouldn't have beat them either then. Maybe that would have been a wasted opportunity, more fool's gold. If the Edmonton Oilers beat the Florida Panthers in 6 games and the Rangers did, I might look at it and go, you know what, I underestimated. Maybe we wouldn't have won the Stanley Cup anyway. So why did it matter? I'm not going to beat myself up. I'd much rather have the Florida Panthers lose, or in general, any team my teams lose. Unfortunately, the Astros win all the time, and that never makes me feel good about the Yankees. So I never understood that, Pat. Never.
Okay. All right. And then let's get back to the conversation at hand. And like I said, I agree with you, by the way. I don't want to see the team that beats my team win it all, because then that makes me think even more that my team could have won it. Like, I thought the Knicks could have beat, again, not with Jalen Brunson with a broken hand and all the injuries they had sustained, but you put everybody on the floor for both teams. The Knicks, you put Porzingis on the Celtics, which he is, or which he might have played in the conference finals if the Knicks had gotten there, because there was a lot of reports he was ready to play Game 4. He was ready to play Game 5 if needed against Indiana. But fully healthy, both teams, I thought the Knicks could have done it. So yeah, that kind of would make me more angry and more bitter to see my team lose to the team that then wins it all. Because then I would have been like, well, my team could have done that.
Right.
Anyway, back to the conversation at hand. You don't think it's different, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl? You don't think the star power that the Oilers have, the consistency, the proven production they have in the postseason, you don't think that that's enough to overcome a slow game one and maybe just the best game that Bobrovsky plays in the series?
No, I don't, unfortunately. And I would love to see McDavid do it. If McDavid's going to win a cup, of course, I'd rather him win it not playing my team. The deal is, if you watch enough hockey, especially in the postseason, the Western Conference games inevitably feel more wide open. At least they do now. There was an era about 10, 12 years ago when that felt like the bigger physical teams were out west and the East Coast teams could fly around the pond. And unless you were Sidney Crosby and the Pens, you weren't really winning a cup. And somewhere along the line, that changed. That up and down approach where the Oilers are looking to win games 5-4, think about their series versus the Kings and stuff like that. It's not going to work here. Now, they might have a moment or two where they score 2 or 3 goals in a game versus Bobrovsky, but they're not going to hit that 4, 5, 6 goal total that the Oilers would love in a track meet. The Panthers are like a snake. They will wrap you around, suffocate you. We know that beyond belief now. And in this spot, the Panthers still have goal scorers, and if you don't have the goaltending that the Panthers have had to go through in all 3 rounds of the Eastern Conference, think about the Panthers. Going to be looking at this going, this is the easiest goaltending matchup we've had all postseason. So, yeah, you might have the scoring, but even in the rare chance the Panthers allow you in a track meet, is Skinner going to stop any of Reinhart, Kachuk, and company too? They're just the better team in this spot. So, I think Western Conference hockey overall, good job by Vegas last year. I think it's trending in a direction of have a lot of fun. It's a track meet. But if you run into the wrong matchup in the East, you're absolutely screwed. Screwed 6 ways from Saturday. Is that what they say? I think that's exactly what's going on. By the way, it just dawned on me. Is that a sexual innuendo thing? And I've never known my whole life. It might be.
Screwed 6 ways from Saturday? I don't know. I'll have to look that up. But you don't look. They beat Dallas with like defensive hockey in a couple of those games. Stuart Little, Leonard Skinnard. He might be singing "Sweet Home Alabama" if Edmonton comes back.
Dallas
and wins
overrated. Dallas overrated. They're not going to win it. They're not going to win it. The Florida Panthers are. By the way, I used that snake suffocating reference. Did you see there was a whole woman in Indonesia swallowed, and they had to cut the snake out, and they found the whole woman's body not even chewed? How scary is that?
Was she alive or did she die from asphyxiation?
Suffocated. Unfortunately, she was dead, mother of 4. Terrible, tragic story. I was reading that on the Post on the Bowl this morning. Unbelievable.
What a positive start to the show, Sean. Thank you for bringing that to our attention there. A whole woman.
But they were looking for, and they spotted a snake with a body, and they were like, gotta be in there. So they killed the snake and found the body. How horrible. Could you imagine going out that way? That's what the Panthers are going to do to the Oilers in hockey form.
I mean, I don't know. I think Leonard Skinnard is a simple man, and I think if you give him 3 steps, he'll be a free bird, and he'll be, like I said, singing "Sweet Home Alabama" all the way back to wherever he's from. Maybe he's not from Alabama. Maybe he's from Canada. Maybe they'll be singing it now in Edmonton.
You really workshopped that hard, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I just looked up Leonard Skinnard songs, and I rattled off "Simple Man," "Give Me 3 Steps," "Free Bird," and "Sweet Home Alabama." Did he sing "Sweet Home Alabama"?
Give me 3 steps. Give me 3 steps. Boo, 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 boo.
He's the original. He's the original curator of Sweet Home Alabama, is he not?
Yeah. Is there another curator of Sweet Home Alabama? Other than Leonard Skinner? Is there
Who's
another
that other? Who's that other? Was it? What's his name? Kenny Chesney? Does he have a Sweet Home Alabama?
Kenny Chesney does not have Sweet Home. Don't even besmirch the name Kenny Chesney like that. I've been to 40 million Kenny Chesney shows. He's never once played Sweet Home Alabama.
Oh my God! I didn't know you're such a big Kenny Chesney guy.
I love country music. I'm at every Chesney concert every year at MetLife. So, poo-poo.
Who's Ronnie Van Zant? Oh, he's the lead singer. Wait, Leonard Skinnard is a band? It's not a guy?
Yeah, dude. That's embarrassing. There are people now really, really honking their horns or watching on Twitch going, Pat Boyle, come back to us. Come back. What's your favorite artist, Pat?
Of all time?
Yeah.
Oh,
boy.
Arctic
You're
Monkeys?
going to give us like, who? The Monkeys?
Arctic Monkeys, the band?
You know a band named Arctic Monkeys, but you didn't know Leonard Skinner was a band?
Well, there's not a guy. What guy would be named Arctic Monkey? Like, well, hi, I'm Arctic. That's not a name. Leonard Skinner sounds like it could be a name.
Have the Arctic Monkeys ever had a hit, or are you one of these guys like, I just like the underground stuff, bro? Just
Yes,
the
they've had a hit.
sellouts.
Their whole album AM, which is titled after the name of the band, Arctic Monkeys, has several amazing songs.
Never heard of the Arctic Monkeys in my life. Never.
Are you
Name me a
kidding
song
me?
then. Go ahead. Name me a hit song that
That
everybody should
song,
know.
Do I Want to Know, where it starts off. All right, you know what? Listen to the band. You know, you don't need your judgmental guy who's been at 40 Kenny Chesney concerts telling me about music.
Well, there's a reason the Arctic Monkeys don't bring in as much revenue as Kenny Chesney. We'll continue our conversation on sports and betting next, and we look ahead to Game 2 of the NBA Finals. Can the NBA avoid an absolute snooze fest here with a big Game 2 effort with the Mavs? We'll look over that series as well. It's Sean, it's Pat, it's 5-Star Weekend. Continue next on BetQL. La, 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 la. I don't hear any music. Boom.
BetQL 5-Star Weekend will be back on the BetQL Network. Presented by BetMGM.
Presented by BetMGM.
Baseball is winning on the BetQL Network with Bet for the Cycle featuring Cody Decker
Cody Decker, former professional baseball player, turned professional smartass on the radio.
and handicapper Rob Brown.
Couldn't hit a baseball off a high school pitcher. That's why I played soccer.
Double plays, props, and parlays.
Not only Blue Jays run line here, Cody, I might tease it up to an alternate run line of -2.5.
Join the chaos every Saturday from noon to 4 Eastern.
Can you explain to me how these are the same odds? Can someone please explain to me how these are the same odds?
Exactly what I was
I've
gonna
looked at this
say.
over and over and over again.
On your home for wagertainment, the BetQL Network. Presented by BetMGM.
Are you ready for the most interactive sports gambling show? Introducing BetQL's Send It In with PJ Glasser. We want to hear from you. Send It In is about your picks, your trends, and your fades. Share your thoughts, predictions, and your best daily best bets with the Send It In community. Set your reminders, mark your calendars, and get ready to send it in on weekday afternoons at 1 Eastern on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. On your home for wagertainment, the BetQL Network, presented by BetMGM.
Baseball is winning on the BetQL Network with Bet for the Cycle featuring Cody Decker
Cody Decker, former professional baseball player, turned professional smartass on the radio.
and handicapper Rob Brown.
Couldn't hit a baseball off a high school pitcher. That's why I played soccer.
Double plays, props, and parlays.
Not only Blue Jays run line here, Cody, I might tease it up to an alternate run line of -2.5.
Join the chaos every Saturday from noon to 4 Eastern.
Can you explain to me how these are the same odds? Can someone please explain to me how these are the same odds?
Exactly what I was
I've
gonna
looked at this
say.
over and over and over again.
On your home for wagertainment, the BetQL Network. Presented by BetMGM.
Are you ready for the most interactive sports gambling show? Introducing BetQL's Send It In with PJ Glasser. We want to hear from you. Send It In is about your picks, your trends, and your fades. Share your thoughts, predictions, and your best daily best bets with the Send It In community. Set your reminders, mark your calendars, and get ready
Welcome back to BetQL 5-Star Weekend on the BetQL Network. Presented by BetMGM.
5-Star Weekend presented by BetMGM. Game 2 NBA Finals in about 10 and a half hours from now. 8 p.m. Eastern. Did I hit that? I think I hit that. Close. But no cigar, as they say. No cigar at all. The Celtics won a game 1 where a little mini run in that second half from the Mavs, but ultimately it was an unwatchable nightmare. I mean, the NBA has what felt like 60 weeks off between the end of the conference finals and the NBA finals. I know it wasn't that dramatic, but it did feel like, to me, Pat, the NBA lost a little mojo and a little momentum. And, you know, as I sat down for game 1, as I always like to do with the NBA finals, I was bored to tears. Even with some of my bets clearly not hitting early, I liked the Mavs in game 1. I was wrong. And ultimately, I was bored to tears. But the Celtics get that win. Now the real question comes. Is this going to end up being a little bit of a shorty? Are the Celtics going to wash the Mavs again and make it feel like, all right, this is finally a culmination for Tatum and Brown? Or do the Mavs have a little bit of a punchback? I think they need to have an answer for Kristaps Porzingis, who had a huge, bout of momentum there in that second quarter for sure. You see the difference with him on the court for the Boston Celtics. The Mavericks are 5-0 this postseason when following a loss, another trend. You got to like the Mavs have been resilient. So before we get into some of the best bets of the day and all that, the only thing that's throwing me off, what is Jason Kidd doing? Why would he call Jaylen Brown the best player in the Celtics? That's just you're taking a shot at Jason Tatum by doing that. And by the way, it doesn't mean to besmirch Jaylen Brown, who is a star in his own right, but I think we've all watched enough Celtic basketball over the last 8 years to determine that Jason Tatum's the better player than Jaylen Brown. But to me, if you're the head coach of an opposing team, in whatever context you want to put it, why on this stage, on the NBA Finals, would you even want to give any of that? And I used to not believe in added momentum. In fact, to me, my theory was if you can't get up for this game and you need something extra to motivate you, what are you doing? However, after watching the Last Dance doc and seeing how Michael Jordan used certain things to inner fuel him game to game, making up basically borderline disrespect, I can't help but think, as much as Jason Tatum will never be Michael Jordan, he's got to be rubbing his hands together with a home game going, oh, really, Jason Kidd? Is that what you think of me? And this could easily become the Jason Tatum show. So I don't get that from the Jason Kidd perspective there, Pat.
Yeah, I don't think Jason Tatum is that guy either. In fact, he's been and by the way, I got the light up sign in the background of my shot here on the wall, the little hey-o, which is, I've coined my catchphrase, and it's already gone out. So, and it went out in the first segment. So
my on-air line light that's above me went out in the first show I ever did with it.
And you never fixed it?
Nah.
Is it a battery issue or it just broke and you decided, I'm not going to replace this?
Never looked into it.
Okay. All right. Well, mine's plugged in and it should be on, so I don't know what's going on with that. Little peel behind the curtain, a little ADD distraction for me there, but on we go. Yeah, I don't think Jason Tatum's that guy anyway. And whether or not he gets fueled like Michael Jordan by Jason Kidd saying Jaylen Brown's the best player on the team, or is it just because the Mavericks need to adjust their defensive tactics to account for Kristaps Porzingis in game 2, to account for Jaylen Brown in game 2, who didn't have a great game, but he got a lot of his points at the free throw line. He was the more aggressive. Tatum decided to be the facilitator early on in game 1, like he has been a lot this season, which makes, player props on the Celtics. Like, dude, flip a coin. And I know you've talked about this before, Sean.
Yep.
The predicting and gambling on who's going to have a big game for Boston, you might as well close your eyes and just pick one of them and hope that it happens, because that you really can't tell who's going to be aggressive early on, who's going to be the passive facilitator. It was Tatum for most of the first half in game 1. So again, whether if Kidd decides, all right, you know what, we're going to let Tatum beat us, but we're going to focus more on Porzingis. We're going to focus more on the corner threes that Boston killed them with, which they've killed a lot of teams with. And then if that opens up the opportunity for Tatum to be more aggressive, then that could be why. I think that's more likely than Tatum just gets motivated by Jason Kidd calling Jaylen Brown the best player on the Celtics. I mean, Brown's been better in this postseason than Tatum. So it's very possible, very plausible. But I'm more upset with how Jason Kidd just, coached that game in general.
Oh my God.
In game 1, kind of deer in headlights. Like, he's been so great this postseason. He found out how to stop Anthony Edwards. They found out how to deal with OKC. And then, like the book, and not even the book, like anybody who has watched a single game of basketball knows Boston's going to jack up 43s. They're going to try to get their corner threes, and that's going to be that. And then they did that, and Jason Kidd was like it looked like he was mystified by it. So, he's throwing Maxi Kleba in there for meaningful minutes. They could not get the Lob City, the alley-oop going with Gafford and or Derek Lively, and Derek Lively getting into foul trouble hurt them. But it was almost as if like, all right, game plan A didn't work, and Jason Kidd had no idea what to do, which is very surprising because I would have thought Dallas had the coaching advantage in this series. And Joe Mazzulla didn't have to stray far from his A game plan, but he outcoached Jason Kidd, which I did not expect to happen, and I'm not expecting it to happen the rest of this series. So I'm expecting a lot of adjustments for Jason Kidd and Dallas here in game 2. And then the other thing, like we even me who despises Kyrie Irving, I gave him his credit. I gave him his flowers. I was like, wow, Kyrie Irving, again, he helped bring them all the way to the finals along with Luka, obviously, and some clutch shooting by PJ Washington and the bigs, Gafford and Lively. And then, going back in Boston, we're like, all right, is Kyrie emotionally mature? Can he handle this hostile environment, a crowd that hates him, a crowd that despises him, a crowd that's going to heckle him? But he's kind of just been, hey, I got a smile on my face. I don't care what anybody says about me. And then he poops the bed in game 1. I mean, absolutely horrible. 6 of 19 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3. So, like, again.
No, they can't have that from Kyrie.
No,
they can't have that from Kyrie.
We gave him a little bit of credit, and he no-showed game 1. So he needs to step up. Like, it's back to, Kyrie is, he's so mature. No. He needs to deliver in game 2 on the road in Boston. Otherwise, this series will be a quick one.
And I think he will. I think Kyrie is in the field of scoring 20 points in this game, hitting 2 or 3 threes for sure. But still, ultimately, they're going to live and die with if Luka can drop 30 on him and, hope that that's enough to carry them. But ultimately, like you're right, it's the defense and slowing down Lively. And this has been slowing down Porzingis. And this has been a Maverick team that's done, the slowing down of the lengthy bigs in the West as the playoffs have gone on. So it should be fascinating again tonight. Right now on BetMGM, plus 220 on the money line for the Mavericks. They're getting 6.5 in the game. I mean, plus 220, if you think the Mavs are going to have a bounce back, that does feel juicy enough for me in this spot on the road. And even if it's not a belief in the Mavs in the series, let's not forget, and the Celtics, if it wasn't for the Pacers basically stinking, would have dropped 2 games there. The Celtics always have these moments in series where just when you start to pull ahead and believe, they have a dud. And would it shock me in the least if this becomes one of those NBA finals where we get to like a 6th game before it's decided, but all the games in many ways are blowouts either way? I forgot that happened in a series either last year or a couple of years ago where you got to end, you're like, 7-game series, but this is like the worst 7-game series I've ever seen. Wouldn't shock me if you get that kind of situation in that kind of series. I did, before we continue to talk about the NBA playoffs, I got to bring up one thing. The Mets and Phillies are in London. We're starting the game in about 40 minutes. Boyle's going to have a pick at the top of the hour. I have the pregame on in front of me. They say you don't want to see how the sausage is made, right? And that's a saying. I just witnessed something before this game that made me want to throw up as a sports fan. Made me absolutely want to vomit. Okay.
Does it have anything to do with David Ortiz and A-Rod?
No. No, because this is going to be an ESPN game today. They're out on the London game.
True.
Okay. Outside whatever stadium they are playing this game in, there is like, fanfare. Everybody's walking around the concourse. They're getting ready. Everybody's excited. And they showed a man as happy as a man could possibly be to be receiving what I can only be described as a children's sponge tattoo onto his face. Okay? Let Shawnee paint the picture again. A man, grown adult, sponge tattoo being put on his face outside London or outside the stadium.
SpongeBob,
smiling.
or just a sponge?
No, like, you don't have kids, but when we were younger, they get like those removable tattoos you put down and you can like pat it with a sponge and it peels off and that's how you get the tattoo on you.
Oh, that's what you mean by sponge tattoo.
Temporary tattoo. Some might call it a temporary tattoo. This guy is smiling ear to ear like it's the best moment of his life. Do you know what the tattoo was?
Was it a half Mets, half Phillies logo?
No, in fact, I would have signed for that. I would have preferred that. The tattoo, Pat, and to our audience out there, was simply the Major League Baseball logo. And I thought to myself, How could anybody be that happy to get a $2 tattoo of the league's logo on your face like it was the best moment in the world? And it struck me that that might be something they're doing over in England. Hey, look, this is our league, sell it. But even so, if I were to go to a Liverpool Man United game that happened to take place in Jerry World, let's say we were doing the same thing, and I rolled up before the game, Shawnee would never be getting a Premier League tattoo on my face and smiling like, look, I'm rooting for the league. This has Rob Lowe NFL hat vibes, Pat. What are we doing over there in England?
Yeah, I don't understand that. And I like the Brits, but like, that's the dumbest thing you could possibly get. Pick one of the two teams, even if you don't like them.
Right.
Just for the day. Hey, I like the Mets, or hey, I hate New York City. I'm going to root for the Phillies. They have Bryce Harper, who did like the sliding knee soccer celebration after his home run yesterday. I like that. I'm going to get a Phillies logo, or maybe my name begins with a P, so I'm going to get the Phillies P. Why would you get Major League Baseball logo? That's so stupid. That is so
and look,
dumb.
Thrilled. So look, it's like when you see the NFL games there and everybody's wearing 40 different teams' jerseys in the crowd. This might shock you. I am not a favor of bringing our professional regular seasons over internationally. I hate it. I understand the idea of growth for games. We play preseasons for a reason. Now, baseball, you want to tell me you want to go over to play games in Japan or Korea to start the year, even though it's silly because you're only giving them one home game each. At least that's the beginning of the year. To halt these two team seasons and send them over to England with wrapped around a bunch of off days to have a bunch of people getting Major League Baseball tattoos on the face is senseless. It's mindless. And think about how far we've come. I mean, NFL, they used to take buys after these games, and now some of them aren't taking off. We're going to basically, the Mets and Phillies are going to play again, Tuesday? I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But we'll get 10 a.m. baseball, and we'll give you some picks coming up in what is a just wild, wild weekend of sports. Did your French Open start yet, by the way, Pat?
Yes, it did. And it's 2-2. Zverev got broken right away, and then he broke Alcaraz right back. So it's 2-2 early on first set here. Looking okay, but Zverev's down love 30 in his game. Now it's love 40. So now he's in big trouble of falling behind yet again. So not the best of starts that I would have hoped for. However, if you asked me to draw out a script for this match, I would probably say that Alcaraz would come out firing and win the first set before Zverev settles in. So we'll see. But I'm starting to get annoyed watching this match.
NBA Finals bet you like more. 35 or more points. Luka at plus 160 or Tatum at plus 550 for tonight.
I mean, the value's obviously on Tatum. I just, again, with how balanced
How can you trust him?
Yeah, how can you trust him, one? And just with how balanced Boston is, like, there's just too many guys that can hurt you, whereas even if Tatum goes for, like, 22 in the first half, like, I can still see him going under 35 points just because then Jason Kidd and Dallas would make what you would think obvious adjustments and start double teaming him and then forcing other guys to beat him. Whereas we know Luka can single-handedly put this team on his back and get 35, 40, even if he is getting double teamed. I will say this, again, talking about this series here, they did to Luka Doncic what the Pacers did to Jalen Brunson, whereas they had Drew Holiday picking him up 94 feet for some of these possessions, and Luka was kind of just like, I am not doing this. Somebody else take the ball up, please. So, like, they're trying to frustrate him. They're trying to make things difficult on him. They're trying to wear him down and gas him. Luka looks like a guy, kind of pudgy. Looks just like you and me, except the fact that he's 6'7", where he could be gassed. Where he could be gassed. So, Boston's trying to do that. They're throwing the whole kitchen sink at Dallas.
You know who ultimately I'm going to feel bad for? If and when the Celtics figure this out and win the championship? Marcus Smart. Man, that dog gave it all. He gave it all the last couple of years. They dump him, try to reshape things, get Drew Holiday. I feel greatly better for him. By the way, I'm going to bet Luka at plus 160 because Luka's going to have two games in the series where he's just unbelievably on fire, and Mike Breen is double banging left and right. Why not tonight? As we're looking for a little bit of a maverick moment, and if you can't tell which way I'm leaning on the game, well, I think you're starting to get a little bit of a hint. I'm going to give you a hot take and a hot cake coming up at the top. Well, I guess the cake would be the bet, as Mario used to warn us, was basically abandoned ship now. The cake would be the bet. I'm going to give you a cake on that. Patty's going to give you a cake on the London, on the Cheerio, England. Hello, Peppa Pig. We're doing that. All right, when we come back, that was really annoying, and I apologize to the audience. I didn't even laugh at that. Some of my material not exactly hitting today. We will look over our weekly view at NFL offseason awards and perhaps discuss the disgrace that's become the WNBA in women's basketball with Caitlin Clark, if I may, because I am still bothered by this 2 days later. And if it wasn't for gambling, frankly, I think I would have completely closed the door on the WNBA by now.
Wow.
Because of the antics they're running. They don't understand. You don't bite your nose to spite your face. I bring in a Pat Boyle here. I don't say, Pat, don't take the shine away from me. I'm happy. You can help me make money. But that's apparently the way WNBA players feel, and I'm tired of it. We'll get into all of that coming up next. It's Sean Morash, Pat Boyle, 5-Star Weekend.
Heck of a tease.
BetQL 5-Star Weekend will be back on the BetQL Network. Presented by BetMGM.
To send it in on weekday afternoons at 1 Eastern on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. On your home for wagertainment, the BetQL Network, presented by BetMGM.
Baseball is winning on the BetQL Network with Bet for the Cycle featuring Cody Decker.
Cody Decker, former professional baseball player, turned professional smartass on the radio.
And handicapper Rob Brown.
Couldn't hit a baseball off a high school pitcher. That's why I played soccer.
Double plays, props, and parlays.
Not only Blue Jays run line here, Cody, I might tease it up to an alternate run line of -2.5.
Join the chaos every Saturday from noon to 4 Eastern.
Can you explain to me how these are the same odds? Can someone please explain to me how these are the same odds?
Exactly what I was
I've
gonna
looked at
say.
this over and over and over again.
On your home for wagertainment, the BetQL Network. Presented by BetMGM.
Are you ready for the most interactive sports gambling show? Introducing BetQL's Send It In with PJ Glasser. We want to hear from you. Send It In is about your picks, your trends, and your fades. Share your thoughts, predictions, and your best daily best bets with the Send It In community. Set your reminders, mark your calendars, and get ready to send it in on weekday afternoons at 1 Eastern on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. On your home for wagertainment, the BetQL Network, presented by BetMGM.
Baseball is winning on the BetQL Network with Bet for the Cycle featuring Cody Decker.
Cody Decker, former professional baseball player, turned professional smartass on the radio.
And handicapper Rob Brown.
Couldn't hit a baseball off a high school pitcher. That's why I played soccer.
Double plays, props, and parlays.
Not only Blue Jays run line here, Cody, I might tease it up to an alternate run line of -2.5.
Join the chaos every Saturday from noon to 4 Eastern.
Can you explain to me how these are the same odds? Can someone please explain to me how these are the same odds?
Exactly what I was
I've
gonna
looked at
say.
this over and over and over again.
On your home for wagertainment, the BetQL Network. Presented by BetMGM.
Are you ready for the most interactive sports gambling show? Introducing BetQL's Send It In with PJ Glasser. We want to hear from you. Send It In is about your picks, your trends, and your fades. Share your thoughts, predictions, and your best daily best bets with the Send It In community. Set your reminders, mark your calendars, and get ready to send it in on weekday afternoons at 1 Eastern on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. On your home for wagertainment, the BetQL Network, presented by BetMGM.
Welcome back to BetQL 5-Star Weekend on the BetQL Network. Presented by BetMGM.
It is BetQL's 5-Star Weekend. I'm Sean Morash. He's Pat Boyle. We do have live baseball coming up that we will track. That starts in a half an hour with the London Phillies versus the London Mets. And we have hot takes and hot cakes, game 2 of the NBA Finals. Plenty more to get into. John Jastrzemski, our friend from The Ringer, going to join us a little bit later on as well. But, Patty, before we get into any WNBA thoughts, it is our time of week where we look at some NFL awards and do the way to look ahead. Although, as it sits right now, we're going to wake up in a month from now and be saying, geez, we're that much closer to training camp. It is June 9th. This is like the deadest of NFL times. But you watch how quickly that barometer starts to spin in July. But we're looking ahead at the Offensive Player of the Year market right now. Christian McCaffrey just signed his little extension, plus 500. Tyreek Hill, plus 600. Then you get to Justin Jefferson, plus 650. Jamar Chase, plus 700. CeeDee Lamb, plus 850. And the list goes on from there. Remember, this is not going to be the quarterback award because that tends to end up being an MVP. The Offensive Player of the Year. I will tell you a couple things. First and foremost, your third favorite there, plus 650. As great as Justin Jefferson is, who just got paid, I can't do it yet. Not with his quarterback situation. You could have a spot where the Vikings, the drop-off from Kirk Cousins, even if you don't love Cousins, to a rookie in McCarthy, or if Darnold's got to play a couple weeks, you never know. I mean, that could be a quarterback double-thinking things, making bad decisions, and that just hurts you on if that takes away 2 extra Justin Jefferson catches a year. Is he going to be unbelievably statistically better than the other wide receivers? So I'm out on Justin Jefferson at plus 650.
Sean, you know what this is
also,
me? You know what this is me? You know what this is me doing here? After you just said what you just said about Justin Jefferson, that's me co-signing. That's me co-signing that because I totally agree. JJ McCarthy, whoever ends up playing quarterback for Minnesota this year, you have to have an elite quarterback. You have to have a top 10 quarterback for your receiver to win Best Offensive Player of the Year. Not going to happen with JJ, with Jettas, even though he is pound for pound the best receiver in football, in my opinion. I think you would agree. He's not winning this award this year. So if you're looking at, I like how instead of saying who I would possibly put my money on, I always like to say, who am I not putting my money on? And that Justin Jefferson is there.
And I have 2 more for you that I think are going to, if they might tickle the undercarriage of you to want to bet, but I'm going to remind you of a couple things. The next one, 22-1 plus, 2,200 is Kyren Williams, the Rams running back out of Notre Dame that everybody fell in love with last year, and he came on. And I think if you very lazily wanted to sprinkle change and saw those odds and said, man, he was a good running back that came on, Sean McVay will get the most out of him. Team ran the ball more than we thought last year. All good and plenty, except you're forgetting one thing. The Rams this year just used the 3rd-round pick on Blake Corum, the star running back at Michigan. There is no way that they are using that pick in the 3rd round on Blake Corum, similar to what they did with Kyren Williams, and going to have Blake Corum basically sit there and rot on the sideline. He is a ready-made starting running back. In fact, if it was the old days of the NFL where running backs were higher valued, Blake Corum would have been a 1st-round pick. That's how good he was at Michigan. So I say this to say, not that Blake Corum is going to totally supplant Kyren Williams, but Kyren Williams is not going to get the same amount of heavy volume and touches because they're going to work both of those guys. I think it's going to be a complete tandem. Wasting your money, plus 2,200, Kyren Williams. Out on that. Pat Boyle, agree, disagree?
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. You're not drafting Blake Corum in the 3rd round if you're not going to be trying to use him. Plus, they want to keep Kyren Williams healthy because his usage last year was absolutely absurd. And, once they finally found a running back after years of, basically going with 2 or 3 guys in order to get the job done. So, yes, I totally agree with you with there as well. Let's see if we go 3 for 3. Who else are you counting out?
I'm counting out Saquon Barkley at plus 2,500. I know everybody will fall in love with him. Ooh, Saquon's with the Eagles. Offensive line. 2 things to remember. Remember. Jason Kelsey's retired. The glue of that Eagle offensive line, the center, the pusher of all the run game. All I've heard about is chemistry along an offensive line. Don't think that the Eagles won't take a step back with that. Number 2, Saquon Barkley may not make it out of Brazil healthy because he always gets hurt. So I certainly wouldn't expect a fully healthy year. Out on Saquon Barkley. That's my 3rd outie on.
Yeah, you want to know who I am outie on, or
sure?
Well, actually, no. I mean, I think you covered it exceptionally well. Breece Hall would be the other one I'd be outie on for the New York Jets, just because Like, sure, they're going to have a balanced attack. They're going to have a balanced offensive attack. It's not just going to be Rodgers throwing it to Garrett Wilson and the collection of receivers they have. Like, they're going to run the ball, but they're not going to run the ball with Breece Hall as much as they have in years past because they have Aaron Rodgers. Now, if he gets hurt, then he's probably not going to win it anyway because then their offense is going to be broken once again. But they have Aaron Rodgers, so it's not going to be Breece Hall carrying the ball 16, 17, 18 times a game. Sure, he might have a couple games where he maybe goes 6 catches for 80 yards along with 80 on the ground. This offense is going to look different than it has in years past because they have a capable quarterback. So there you go. So that I'm out on Breece Hall. The ones that I have circled, I mean, McCaffrey plus 500. Sure, if they continue to use him the way they have, then of course he's going to be a finalist for it. But you're looking at, do I really want to put plus 500 and put my money on Christian McCaffrey staying healthy all year long? There's that. The same goes for Tyreek Hill. All these little, muscle cramps, little mini strains he gets in his hamstrings and his quads where he's not practicing all week just to suit it up for game day. Like, to me, the two that I'm honing in on here, Shawnee, is Jamar Chase at plus 700.
Oh, thank God you said it.
And then Amon-Ra St. Brown at 16-1 plus 1,600, which actually the board, our graphic here has him at plus 2,500. So whatever the actual price is, that is a price that we talk about. You always want, and I love our guy Nick Costos. He goes, forget about value. I'm trying to win a bet. I don't care what the value is. I want to win the bet. But a guy that I think can win it, plus the value, Amon-Ra St. Brown, number 1 receiver, Detroit, all the I think you mentioned the schedule that Detroit plays, or maybe it was Rob Brown a couple of weeks ago when you were off. Detroit's got a lot of indoor games or a lot of good weather games. Yeah. So Jared Goff, we know, can spin it. We know that offense was electric last year when conditions were suitable for Jared Goff in that offense. Amon-Ra St. Brown, the numbers he put up last year, the numbers he can put up again, plus 2,500 to me, that's something that I'm probably going to throw, once we get closer to the season, $5 or $10 on.
I want to make this clear. I don't hate the Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I think what's going to hurt Amon-Ra St. Brown is I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be the better offensive player on his own team. And that's not to say that I think Jahmyr Gibbs is the play here, but more that I think that those two guys might eat themselves on votes together playing in that same offense if you're paying attention to the lines, and that would hurt me. Now, I'm with you on Jamar Chase plus 700. If I had to say right now, like gut reaction, if you said, Sean, it's not fun to just say the Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl again. I want you to eliminate the Chiefs. I think this is the year of the Bengal. I think that they bounce back in a huge way. I think that you will have a lot of people that almost forget how special they could be if they were in a Super Bowl a couple of years ago with the guts and core of the team. Joe Burrow banged up, and T. Higgins, I guess, is going to play here for one more ride. I think Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow could be like extra special this year. So that's why I like that. And then the other one, and it would pain me to say it because I never want you to basically flush money down the old turlet on anything Cowboy related. But I could see CeeDee Lamb winning this award. And I could see it from the standpoint of Dak Prescott is not extended. Okay. And whether you like him or don't like him, you would think Dak Prescott is going to give you the best Dak Prescott season possible because he has no other choice to do so. And when you really break it down, okay, they have Brandon Cooks, whatever. Where does everything go when Dak's in trouble? To CeeDee Lamb's way. I think you could have a collision course between Dak understanding that, almost trusting CeeDee too much again, CeeDee taking off. I think the Cowboys still will be relevant. They'll break your heart in January like they always do. I think they still will have a good year. In fact, I'd pick them to win the division right now over Philadelphia. That makes me want to throw up too because I hate the Cowboys. But I'd like CeeDee Lamb at plus 850 because it feels like he might get all the volume, all the balls. He's got all the balls getting tickled there for the Dallas Cowboys. Pat.
I think that's the one thing that you can count on. I think CeeDee Lamb's probably a safe bet because, like you said, that with Dak's circumstances and the way the season he had last year, I mean, what was it, 5 straight games of like 100 yards and a touchdown? So he's going to get his volume. I think the highest ceiling, though, like we both mentioned, is Jamar Chase, basically just because of how, people kind of forgot how good the Bengals are. And it's, they don't have the dearth of weapons that, Detroit has. I know you mentioned Jahmyr Gibbs. What's his name? Tyler or Dan, who's working on the show today, mentioned Sam Laporta as well, the volume that he's going to get, plus the run game. Whereas Cincinnati, we know that they struggle to get the run game going. New running back in there this year. So it's like, okay, they have to throw the ball to Jamar Chase. Like, it's not like, oh yeah, Jamar Chase can hurt you, but also T. Higgins and the third receiver and the running back. No. They have to throw the ball to Jamar Chase. And after basically almost a whole year of not playing together, we know Burrow is going to throw to him over and over and over again.
Yeah. Bengals, you think they're locked for the playoffs this year? I just tickled them and teased them.
Ooh, I would say yes, but dude, that AFC North is so damn good. It is so damn well. Again, a lot of that depends on how good you think the Browns are going to be with Deshaun Watson. Can they, that magic carpet ride with Joe Flacco last year and not having Nick Chubb going to be back? Does he look like the same running back? Can Deshaun Watson replicate what Joe Flacco did? I can't believe I'm actually asking that question out loud, but that is the question that we have to ask here. But if that offense, if Deshaun Watson performs nearly to the level, like one half of the level that he was the quarterback in Houston, which is asking a lot, but that defense is fantastic. Kevin Stefanski has won Coach of the Year 2 of the last 3 years. The Browns are going to be tough. We would assume the Ravens might not be as good as last year, but I would be hard pressed to not put them in the playoffs. And then look, as much as I think Russell Wilson flat out stinks and Justin Fields might be taking over in Pittsburgh, dude, that defense got even better. So it's a deep AFC. Plus you have Rodgers coming back. If he's healthy, the Jets, in my opinion, are a playoff team. Buffalo, Miami, Kansas City. There's not a lot of playoff spots to go around. I'd be stunned if Cincinnati is not in the playoffs.
Yeah, I would be too. And you talk about the AFC North, another team that I think will be a topic of conversation as we go on with the summer. Do we get to a point where we just stop assuming, because Mike Tomlin's the head coach, that the Steelers will definitely finish above 500 since he always does? Because their quarterback situation is going to leave a lot to be desired. I know it did a year ago, but at some point that division probably catches up with them. I've been on an anti-Steeler tinge the last couple of weeks, but hey, plenty of time between. This is why you probably responsibly should not bet these futures right now, because you're going to overthink things. All right, when we come back, Patty's got a hot cake for Cherry Old England. I got a hot cake for the NBA Finals. And I think we'll get to my Caitlin Clark take and make things very awkward and very uncomfortable here on BetQL's 5-Star Weekend. It's Sean Morris. It's Pat Boyle. Continue on next.
Well, 5-Star Weekend. We'll be back on the BetQL Network. Presented by BetMGM. Baseball is winning on the BetQL network with Bet for the Cycle featuring Cody Decker.
Cody Decker, former professional baseball player, turned professional smartass on the radio.
And handicapper Rob Brown.
Couldn't hit a baseball off a high school pitcher. That's why I played soccer.
Double plays, props, and parlays.
Not only Blue Jays run line here, Cody, I might tease it up to an alternate run line of -2.5.
Join the chaos every Saturday from noon to 4 Eastern.
Can you explain to me how these are the same odds? Can someone please explain to me how these are the same odds?
Exactly what I was
I've
gonna
looked at
say.
this over and over and over again.
On your home for wagertainment, the BetQL Network, presented by BetMGM.
Are you ready for the most interactive sports gambling show? Introducing BetQL's Send It In with PJ Glasser. We want to hear from you. Send It In is about your picks, your trends, and your fades. Share your thoughts, predictions, and your best daily best bets with the Send It In community. Set your reminders, mark your calendars, and get ready to send it in on weekday afternoons at 1 Eastern on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. On your home for wagertainment, the BetQL Network, presented by BetMGM.
Baseball is winning on the BetQL network with Bet for the Cycle featuring Cody Decker.
Cody Decker, former professional baseball player, turned professional smartass on the radio.
And handicapper Rob Brown.
Couldn't hit a baseball off a high school pitcher. That's why I played soccer.
Double plays, props, and parlays.
Not only Blue Jays run line here, Cody, I might tease it up to an alternate run line of -2.5.
Join the chaos every Saturday from noon to 4 Eastern.
Can you explain to me how these are the same odds? Can someone please explain to me how these are the same odds?
Exactly what I was
I've
gonna
looked at
say.
this over and over and over again.
On your home for wagertainment, the BetQL network, presented by BetMGM.
Are you ready for the most interactive sports gambling show? Introducing BetQL Send It In with PJ Glasser. We want to hear from you. Send It In is about your picks, your trends, and your fades. Share your thoughts, predictions, and your best daily best bets with the Send It In community. Set your reminders, mark your calendars, and get ready to send it in on weekday afternoons at 1 Eastern on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. On your home for wagertainment, the BetQL network, presented by BetMGM.
Baseball is winning on the BetQL network with Bet for the Cycle featuring Cody Decker.
Cody Decker, former professional baseball player, turned professional smartass on the radio.
And handicapper Rob Brown.
Couldn't hit a baseball off a high school pitcher. That's why I played soccer.
Double plays, props, and parlays.
Not only Blue Jays run line here, Cody, I might tease it up to an alternate run line of -2.5.
Join the chaos every Saturday from noon to 4 Eastern.
Can you explain to me how these are the same odds? Can someone please explain to me how these are the same odds?
Exactly what I was
I've
gonna
looked at this
say.
over and over and over again.
On your home for wagertainment, the BetQL network, presented by BetMGM.
Are you ready for the most interactive sports gambling show? Introducing BetQL Send It In with PJ Glasser. We want to hear from you. Send It In is about your picks, your trends, and your fades. Share your thoughts, predictions, and your best daily best bets with the Send It In community. Set your reminders, mark your calendars, and get ready to send it in on weekday afternoons at 1 Eastern on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. On your home for wagertainment, the BetQL network, presented by BetMGM.
I hate the Knicks. I hate their fans.
And Pat Boyle.
That's probably why I'm not a GM in the NFL, but if I was, I would probably take a huge swing on Michael Penix.
Turning your faith into fortune.
Few things in the gambling world I can't wait to bet more than the Jets under right now.
While serving up hot cakes and hot takes.
If Chet Holmgren was on that team, he's probably putting up better numbers than Wemby.
It's BetQL 5-Star Weekend, presented by BetMGM.
Hello, Governor. Hello, Governor. It's Sean Morash and it's Pat Boyle. As London baseball about to start again, it's 5-Star Weekend. I'm going to stop that stupid accent I was doing. I'm not Peppa Pig. Okay, it's been a fun hour number one. Covered plenty of NFL. We talked about the NBA Finals. I'm going to have a hot cake on the Finals in a little bit. But before we get started with a first pitch in London, we got to get hot takes and hot cakes because Patty's got a bet to place. Let's go.
Morning, people. Boy, do I need some hot takes and hot cakes. Pat Boyle and Sean Morash, give it to them.
Yeah, Shawnee, I got the over in this game, which you're getting a better, at least when I placed it 10 minutes ago, you're getting one of the best numbers I've seen for this game in the over-under for the Mets and the Phillies in London. It is a flat 11 here for this game that's starting in just a couple of minutes. So if you like my reasoning and rationale behind it, go ahead and get that in here in the next couple of minutes. Over 11, Mets-Phillies, this game that starts in a few minutes in London. Like I said, these games are wonky. They've gone over, I think, 60% of the time since they started doing these games in London for the last couple of years here. And yesterday, there wasn't even a lot of offense, and you still ended up getting 9 runs. So you got 2 pitchers on the mound who both of these teams are very familiar with, Taijuan Walker, the former Met, and Jose Quintana, who has pitched in the National League for most of his career. So you've got everybody in this, the majority of players in this Phillies starting lineup have more than 13 career at-bats versus Quintana. Nick Castellanos has 2 home runs off of him. Everybody, the first 5 guys in the Phillies starting lineup have homered off of Jose Quintana in their career. And look, we know what the damage the Phillies offense can do. Schwarber, Realmuto, Harper, Bowman, Castellanos, right out of the gate, those first 5 are capable by themselves of putting up 7 runs in this game. So you combine that with the fact that Taijuan Walker and Jose Quintana both have an ERA over 5 on the season. They've both been getting smacked around a little bit their last couple of starts. Plus their whips 1.4 and 1.6. So even if they're not getting a ton of hits, you would expect them, just because of the firepower of the Phillies lineup. Quintana maybe walks a couple of guys. Taijuan Walker, who, like I said, a former Met. The Mets know him very well. This Mets offense hasn't been as putrid as they were a couple of weeks ago. I know it's the Nationals, but they did sweep Washington. They did put up 23 points, and I expect the balls to fly. If you're a conspiracy theorist, or you like to bet maybe sometimes on things that, how would I say it? Yeah, maybe I guess conspiracy theory. The game's in London. They want offense. They want the balls to fly. They bring the juice balls over the pond here for this game. It's an early start as well, so a little bit warmer weather than yesterday. If you get the wind blowing in your direction, I think not only 11 or 12 runs in this game, I think we might see 16, 17. I think this has the possibility of being a slugfest here. So you got 2 bad pitchers, 2 mediocre pitchers. You got the dangerous Phillies lineup. You got a really, really bad Mets bullpen. And a Mets lineup that's starting to hit a little bit. Here. So those things combined, I love the over 11. I know it's a lot higher than most normal games would be. This is not a normal game. So there we go. Mets Phils over 11. I'm tracking that. I'm tracking my French Open bet. Zverev lost the first set, but here we go. It's positive vibes from here on out.
Oh, boy. It's over. You already lost the bet. You gave away a loser, which means bet the under in the Philly Met game.
Stop.
You're a big betting mush today.
It's early. It's a best of 5. You got to win 3 sets, Shawnee. That's what best of 5 means. He won 1 set, Alcaraz did. Zverev has already made some adjustments here. Let's go.
Alcaraz going to sweep. Absolutely going to sweep. All right. First of all, on this London series that's about to start, the Mets owner, Steve Cohen, for some reason can't stop finding microphones or making comments. He has said that there is better food in London that he's experienced this weekend than ever in the United States. First of all, A, must be nice to be that rich. B, everybody knows you go to London, England, you bring your own salt and pepper. There's no way, I don't know what you're trying to do with tourism with the Mets over there as your owner, that you're thinking there's better food there. And what is that telling all your fans when they're standing 70 innings in a row on a line for Shake Shack, which is overrated?
Yeah.
Good talk, Pat. Good talk.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that. They've got some, like, English breakfast, full English breakfast, or a full Irish breakfast with the pork blood, the blood pudding, whatever you would call it there. You get the baked beans, which is the only time I'll ever eat beans, is when I go to.
Don't they call that the blood pudding? Isn't that called spotted dick?
I don't think so. I haven't heard it be called that.
I think it is. I was looking at a list of foods with Tiki Barber on Friday, and that was like their big pudding.
Okay,
yeah.
Perhaps. I haven't heard that.
Best food from England, though? The muffin.